Pinkertons Ghosts is a horror anthology podcast by Superversive Radio, with no affiliation with any detective agency, person, real or imagined, or the dark forces of Outre-Terre. It is not intended for children.
Jack Morrow here. As always, I appreciated the terse message. Days astrologers have reported an occult event in your territory at 4 a.m. last night. Please investigate and report back what you find. The territory in question was near, danger close almost, to Tom Sock. Tom Sock means a lot of things. A lake, a power plant, the highest spot in the state of Missouri, any number of those, or a combination thereof, could mean trouble if it was attacked. The question is, what event? What happened? Was it just some kitty witches playing with something of which they have no comprehension? Something more occult, like Jim's soulstone? Was a god about town causing problems? Or did something come in from the outer dark to stalk the good souls and good people of my state? The closest likely place to the coordinates was a meditation center. Evil is ever willing to come close to its home and burn it for warmth. I'd burn it down at any excuse. The building stood empty, the doors unlocked, and the lights turned on. No one came to investigate me poking around the buildings or examining the statues of foreign gods, hidden in plain sight as meditation guides. What a strange place to find in the heart of Christian Missouri. Just far enough from every church that I could see no strong spiritual influence diminishing whatever it was this place was up to. Most of the pictures showed men's groups sitting cross-legged, a few women dotted here and there, without clear connection to any of the men. They seemed nice, if weedy. There weren't any cars in the parking lot but mine. Maybe I was overthinking it. While the place was not Christian, it certainly wasn't actively occultic. At least in the way that would trip the astrologers. I do not trust astrologers, but these were less, tell me the future, and more, who's using the stars to their advantage. Once I met a day's astrologer while sitting at the bar of the diner between worlds. He told me the stars twinkled and flashed when called upon. It's just that the atmosphere is so light polluted and the effects so brief only children and the sensitive could sense it. He grumbled about some sort of Chinese political cult, bringing the attention of bad stars to Earth. It took a little prompting and a slice of cherry pie a la mode, but he told me more, that there were disasters, bad stars, and bonasters, good stars, and some stars were alive and some were dead. These corpses were dead because their angel had left for other parts, no matter how bright the nuclear fire. Where? I asked him. I pray to God not here, was his reply, and he stopped talking to me after that. I searched the low hills around the facility. There, at a gate leading away into the wilderness, was my trail. One part walked up by sandaled feet in good order, and another muddied by feet running back the other way. No blood, but plenty of panic. I left my Unismasher where I parked it and entered the woods. I like to think of myself as a hunter, following the trail of monsters and demons and evil men. When I find them, I have the same satisfaction as any American bagging a 12-point buck. Or at least, that's how I imagine it. Despite my story with the astrologer, I don't talk much less people outside the industry, I guess. But I have seen men admiring such beasts. I wonder what they would say over the pelt of that questing beast I killed last year. I could say that I found it on government land, and they'd keep it quiet, I'm sure. The veil is for men's souls, not quite their trophy cases. My fantasies of social acceptance through dead monsters were interrupted by such a monster. Well, that's not quite the right description. Monster implies the unnatural, even though I would describe their character as monstrous. I would not call an elf monster, per se. A minotaur is on that borderline. Some were more sentient than others, but all unnatural. Then there were things like the Hecatonkire, Nephilim, and other half-demon things from the flood and unnatural couplings. Demonic, monster. Is there enough of an overlap? Kill on sight either way. Dryads, nymphs, hamadryads, nereids, creatures of the natural world. I try not to blow away on sight. Especially not the little ones. Some things can choose not to be evil with the right husbandry. Those beings who keep their work from Eden time should flourish, rather than be snipped like weeds. I knelt down till I was only a foot or two from the top of the tiny dryad's head. I could not tell what sort of sapling she was. She stared at me with serious green eyes. She had the body of an 8-year-old child and hair like vines, full like a human scalp, but living, writhing a little. Leaves covered her pink and green skin enough to be decent, but her bare feet and hands were covered in mud and a glowing green sap. Nymph blood. I spoke to her gravely. "Take me to your mother's." And she did. My long strides could have overtaken her at a run, but I felt I could not pick her up from the earth, like pulling up a sapling. Instead, I let my patience dominate. Things could not get worse in the minutes it would take for her to clamber over rock and root. Nymphs went dormant in the presence of churches and good church folk, doing their job quietly, as if Eden never fell. The Bible submitted such land to mankind during holy generations. Now, not so much. Good Missouri trees in my neck of the woods, not even half an hour from where I had slept last night, were cast aside on the right and left hand, their roots ripped from the ground, their leaves falling like snow, artificially autumnal before the hour. Women entwined with their trees wept, hands buried in vine-like hair. They were all beautiful women, the green splotches of their youth gone, leaving human-like flesh. They did not respond to me. Instead, they wept the harder when I spoke to them. Their grief, inconsolable. It is a waste, sadly, to comfort the stewards of the wild. Their emotions, like a natural event, must be let to run its course. The second rank beyond these poor wretches were worse off than I imagined. I had thought, perhaps, some explosion or fire would be at the center of the copse. In a stone pit, I would find the heart of a dying star, or a meteor, or some occult purple fire I could extinguish. These women were twisted and molded like a figure of Play-Doh in the hands of a toddler. Some were twisted 360 degrees, their spines woven around like their trees were, the bark twisting like a tornado, their hands and arms wrapped around them, and their legs trapped in their own skirts. Many were dead. Those who weren't, their eyes gleamed with tears begging to be shed. The next rank, large matrons with roots cracking the stones under them, were dead. Their bodies shattered by some force I could not conceive, bark broken, treetops falling over, ripped in half, denuded of all leaves. I had to climb over branch piles like picket fences, some slamming and twisting into trees of different species. The young one left me then and climbed into a bent sapling like a child clambering into a half-open door. Some of the nymphs were fading, turning to silver dust and flowing away in the slight, humid breeze that wafted through the devastation. The ground under me cleared, and I saw the center of the disaster. 4 trees, each queenly in her forest, had been molded and twisted together like strands of wool, each flowing into each other and out of each other, so that the only reason I knew there were 4 trees merged together were the trunks that separated at the bottom, forming a rough pool filled with blood. Both the red blood of men and the green sap of nymphs. I peered into the ruined wood and saw the screaming face of a dead man in occult robes. I walked around the wreck and saw an arm sticking out there, a leg here, dripping rivulets of blood falling from victims farther up. No wonder there had been no police report, no frantic call. What could you say? We performed a ritual and the performers were devoured by trees. It was just a cult ritual gone wrong, officer. I swear, the Virgin was consenting. My teeth were chattering. I felt my old rage bubble in me. This was my territory. The injured and slain nymphs were one thing, and the murders of men was another, but altogether, it was enough to make me want to go mad with rage. I found the 4 nymphs, their bodies and limbs twisted together in a mockery of life, still spasming in agony. In their chests, where a heart should be, vines reached into the stony ground. Who did this? The witch! The witch! 4 throats roaring at the same time set me back a step. I am not a man to be turned aside by any human suffering. I knew these things were not the same as a souled woman, but still. Before I could ask more, which witch? Was there a name? What hands that were unbound and unbroken raised the vines from their hearts? Cut! 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 They said nothing else. I could not bear it. I cut the vines away and they died as the green sap flooded out like a hose unkinked, and energy around me, like the humidity on this summer's day, flowed away. I felt healthier. I did not feel the weight I did not know I was carrying. Mags may have done this. There had to be other witches. California seems lousy with cults and necromancers. I told her that I would kill her if she performed magic. I remember the careful look on her face. No way she wasn't going to break the law. I would enforce with her life's blood. Maybe these men were involved with the death of her father. Maybe not. Maybe I need to get deeper into the land, the people. Someone had wounded nature itself. If I am the Lord Steward of God's creation, here in this state, this insult couldn't be let go. I just needed some sort of confirmation. As I left, mentally preparing the report for days and control in my head, I was pleased to see the weeping not so loud and the tears not so free-flowing. The land will heal and the lives will be revenged. Maybe they could feel that. Many were fading into their trees, sleeping once again. It's a small mercy. There was a cancer in the land. I needed to root it out. But for now, I'll send the day's format report to you when I'm done typing at Control. Jack Morrow, out.
Pinkerton's Ghosts is a podcast distributed by Superversive Radio, licensed under an Attribution Non-Commercial Share-alike International License. This episode was written by Ben Wheeler and is performed by the same. Ben Wheeler edits, directs, produces, and herds cats. Kid Dickerson performs our audio editing. Visit us on Facebook, read articles on superversivesf.com, or listen to us on unauthorized Acast, iTunes, or Spotify. Contact us through Twitter at @PinkertonsGhost, email us at pinkertonsghosts@gmail.com, or send us noble messenger possums with messages strapped to their backs. Don't worry, they know how to find us. Thank you for listening, and good luck.